Hey everybody, welcome to round 11 of the District 14 Hare Scrambles. This is Evergreen Creek. I believe it's just outside of Vassar, maybe it's right in Vassar, Michigan. Well, this track was a lot of fun. I had a lot more fun than I did at Polka Dots. I changed my tires out. I put that Shinko Cheater Hybrid tire on the back, and I went with just a soft Shinko tire on the front. They don't make a cheater tire for the front, but yeah, I had a lot better luck this race with traction anyway. But I get my usual start here. I changed a whole bunch of stuff on the bike and everything was running good. First kick every time I fired until, of course, the flag waves, and then I think it's 5 or 6 or 7 kicks. But kind of worked out because I didn't really lose a ton of ground, and I didn't get piled up in that mess. So instantly got around one guy, and the race is on. So again, we had a big turnout for the K class. Maybe it's just something with running races on this side of the state. We had, I think there was 23 guys in our class. Yep, 23. And official results at the track said that I got 13. Looks like they made some sort of a little amendment to it once they posted the results online, and so I was actually 14th, which is where I thought that I finished to begin with. So that was a little disappointing. I mean, I was pretty excited when I thought that I was 13, and yeah, I should have been one position higher, but Mr. Pony Down himself got around me right on the last corner, so that was definitely my bad. It never should have happened, but things happen. So I got Jimmy Carroll right in front of me here, and we're buddies. Don't want to run him over, but Jimmy, you're in my way. He's given that 125 everything it's got though, and he was making it awful hard to get around him, so I had to wait for an opening. This little area here was kind of cool. I mean, it was totally unexpected to just come across a bunch of boulders. I don't know if they placed them there before the race to make it more challenging or not, but it definitely slowed everybody down in that corner. This sand was super thick. I was super happy with how that Shinko tire is working on the rear. The lugs are just big enough yet to help get through the deep sand, where a lot of the hybrid tires, the tread blocks are just a little bit too close together, so they're really good for slick stuff, but mud and sand they don't really work great on. So the Shinko tire, as far as the reviews are concerned, and in my personal opinion from using it, is it has just big enough blocks to really let you dig through the sand and the mud still. So yeah, I think it was like a $50 tire. It's the cheapest tire I've ever bought for anything, and it seemed to work really, really well. So right here, I'm going for it. See ya, 3 guys. Got around Jimmy, and I hit neutral. Jimmy gets back around me, and we're playing follow the leader again. It was, once again, just my fault. I should have had it in gear, and I'd have left him in the dust, but now I gotta work to get around him again. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't get around him when I did, and you'll see why in a little bit. I wanted to push it a lot harder down this road, but I didn't want to tear up my brand new tire either, so I took it easy on the asphalt and let it fly in the dirt. Now this part of the track was really cool. It started to really kind of close in on you, but it was just like wild grass and wild flowers, and you know, so even though it got super tight, you know, you weren't worried about hitting a tree. There wasn't really anything there. That's not to say that there's not necessarily something down in that stuff, but at least, you know, brushing it with your arms. Right there is a deer. Went right in front of Jimmy. If I was in front of him, I'm not sure if I would have been long gone by now, or if I would have nailed that deer, but that would have been really bad. I hear everybody's just kind of stacking up on this hill. It's like, forget it. There's a nice wide open spot here. I'm going. So now I'm right behind Jeff. Pony down, 418. Here we go. We're going to try and make a race out of this one, because I knew if Jeff was in front of me right now that my pace was pretty good, because I got held up a little bit towards the back of the pack, so just meant that we were all riding at a pretty good pace, and some of the faster guys probably, you know, got away from us pretty quick, but, you know, the guys that ride at my level, and Jeff rides more aggressively for longer than I do, but he and I ride at the same level, you know, when we're pushing hard. So I knew that I've got the ability to beat Jeff. I just need to actually do it. This track was just awesome. Like, I really loved this track. I wasn't sure at first, you know, seeing some of the forest areas, it's pretty sketchy towards the end of the track. Made me a little nervous because there's some huge spikes sticking out of the pine trees and stuff, but this section here was just beautiful, just like Booster said, you know, a couple of years ago. I mean, this is nice woods riding right here, and it flowed really good. You know, it was tight in some sections, but even when it was tight, like, you were still moving at a pretty decent clip. So it was just a lot of fun to ride this track. Big old logs and stuff, and not really any run-ups to them, so you had to keep your momentum up to clear some of that stuff. But yeah, it was a really, really good time. Jeff's kind of pulling away from me a little bit here, but I don't let him get too far. I was talking with David Palmer right before the race. He lined up right next to me, and he was looking at my video from playing around with the sandbox, and he says, "Oh man, your headstock bearings, you got to tighten that thing down because your front end is just all over the place." I said, "I know." Well, I never even thought about it. I mean, this is the first dirt bike I've ever owned that wasn't a pit bike. And so until this year, I've never raced dirt bikes. I've just trail rode and stuff sometimes. And so I just figured, you know, hey, maybe I need to put a steering stabilizer or something on it. But, you know, it's at the end of the day, you just go for it when you can. And So since this race, I tightened down my headstock bearings, and I took it out for a rip, and it's so much easier to control now. So thanks, David. So right here, we're opening up into the fast section now, and I had the speed to get around Jeff. I had him, but his tire was throwing up so much sand in my face, even with my goggles. I mean, there was sand getting inside my goggles, there's sand going in my mouth, just burning my face, and Jeffrey was all over the track from one side to the other, so it made it really hard to get around him. And towards the end here, coming back into the woods, it got super, super thick and deep sand, so I figured I better not push my luck. I'm more than happy to follow Jeff forever and then pass him right at the end. So while we're going through the woods here, what did I change on this bike this time? Besides the tires, I changed the main jet. I went from a 178 down to a 170 because I was, previously I've been running like 260 or 250 to 260 on the temperature. And I was having some issues with reed flutter, stuff like that, so I put the Poison dual stage reeds in here, and I put that 170 main jet in, and I'll tell you what, this bike was running great today. I think I topped out at like 210 degrees, which is still warmer than I would like, but when you're rolling through the woods and stuff, you're not getting as much airflow, so I'll take 210. But boy, those dual stage reeds gave this thing so much more power, and yeah, I was just loving it. If you're thinking about putting new reeds in there, I would not put the V3 reeds in it. Go for those Poison reeds unless you're going to go back to the stock ones. I think that these guys that are getting through here are a couple of the SS guys, and it's crazy. These guys ride really fast, and normally they stay in huge packs. They're all older guys, so they ride smart. They don't try and win the race at the beginning, and they just stay in really tight packs. So when one's coming up behind you, and you're like, oh man, there's a fast guy coming behind me, I'll get out of the way. You pull over, and there's like 15 of them coming through. So that that can be a bad deal for you. And I'll tell you what, this race, I felt like I let a lot of people by, and I did. I mean, there's no denying it. But there were very few people. Right there was the only tree or root that I had issues with. And, it was just a fluke. No tire's going to save me from that. So, still got to be a little bit careful, but once you figure out the throttle control and everything with this tire, they're good. But yeah, what I was saying, I let a lot of people by when I just hear an engine come up on me. Because, this is still my first year racing, and my experience is slim on off-road races. So when I hear a bike come up behind me, I just assume this person's faster than me, I'm holding them up, I'll just get out of their way. Well, too many times this race, I let people by, and they either didn't pull away from me, or they stalled out in front of me and held me up, So from now on, unless you're hollering at me, I'm not getting out of the way. You know, you can find your way around. I feel like I'm finally to the point where I'm riding at a fast enough pace to not be ticking too many guys off. Obviously I'm still not one of the fast guys out there, but I mean, you know, you see these guys that I let by and they stay right in the frame for like 3-4 minutes. It's like, if you're not capable of walking away from me, I'm not gonna let you by anymore. So that's my word of warning for all y'all. My wife says, "Why do you keep letting these guys by? They're not even pulling away from you." And I said, "You're right. I don't know." And 9 times out of 10, I'm letting guys in my own class go by me. So, you know, that's not good. Brian McMullen got a new YZ, 250 XF, or it's the 4-stroke. I don't know exactly which model it is, but he got the 254 stroke to replace the Aprilia. He's not getting rid of the Aprilia, I don't think, but that'll probably just become his trail bike. I don't know if I ever saw him in this video, only because I mostly pick him out based on the bike, and so I'm not sure if I see him at all in this video. I never saw him before or after the race because the parking was such a strange mess at this track. You know, this is a privately owned piece of property, so when we pull in, you know, it's basically a driveway, and then all this beautiful property. So you're just trying to find a place to put your vehicle along with all other 200 people that showed up. I don't even know how many people showed up. There was quite a big turnout, I thought. These saplings, I probably hit 3 or 4 of them, just dead on. And you know, you look at a tree that's like 3/4 of an inch around, and you figure, oh, that thing will give. They don't. So luckily, I never hit anything too hard, but yeah, they definitely bring you to a stop pretty quick. But yeah, Brian, I thought was going to really, honestly, I figured he'd be like top 5, and he ended up finishing, oh, I want to say, yeah, the printed report at the track's at 17th, so he probably got pushed back to 18th with the adjusted scoring. So 18th, I said, how the heck did that happen? And you know, it's brand new bike. He doesn't have the Recluse on it or anything like that yet. So understandably, he just had some issues with stalling out. And, you know, just figuring it out. But I know he's gonna be at the front of the pack once he gets it all dialed in. So I'm excited for him. That's gonna be pretty awesome. Whole lot less bike to be thrown around through the woods. So right there, this section here, you can see there's a slight little berm that was building up along the right there. But that was like really like powdery soft sand. You're running right along the edge of a pretty steep drop off in a creek, and you know, your front tire would touch it and it would almost suck you towards the creek. So that was a little unnerving, really. So right there, you know, he yelled at me. you guys are come up behind me and you know that you'll pull away from me, go ahead and yell. I will get out of your way. But if you're not yelling, I'm not moving. And of course, then there's a huge backup. We got some of the faster guys, the SS guys that, and I think even some of the R class guys that might have had issues at the beginning were working their way through here, and yeah, it was just a big pileup. Now that guy in the Kawasaki there, I think that's the same guy that back at Battle Creek just had a screaming fast bike, but he was constantly flying off the track. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy, because you'll see him multiple times in this video where he's on the ground or whatever. So, you know, maybe back it down just a tad. Try and keep yourself under control a little bit. This was a 9-mile track today, so it was a long one. And you'll see, you know, we'll go through the timing blocks at about 30 minutes, and there's still technically 10 more minutes of track before we get through an official full first lap. But they called it one lap at the 30-minute mark. So I got 3 laps. Yeah, I could have definitely gotten 3 full laps if the timing blocks were where they were, or were at the starting line, I should say. But all in all, I mean, the layout, I don't think that they could have done it a whole lot differently. Where they put the scoring tent. Was in a pretty good location. They could have put it over by the starting line, but you'll see that that section opens up into a kind of a fast sprint into the first corner, and so if they had put the timing tent there, it would have just slowed everyone's flow down and kind of messed them up. So I think where they had it set up was pretty decent. Lots of big elevation changes on this property. It was pretty cool. The one thing over by the field area, right here, that section there, on the second lap, it bites me. But the field section at the beginning, there was a hill climb area, and I think on the first lap, I may have missed it. This guy just backs his bike into me. I know a lot of people had trouble on these slippery log bridges. But yeah, I don't want to be taken out when I'm just riding straight. But yeah, there was a hill climb area that I didn't see on the first lap. Someone told me that there was a bunch of guys standing over like in front of the sign, so you couldn't see it. I never noticed it. On the second lap, I never noticed it. And on the third lap, I saw the sign, but I was already past it by the time I noticed it. And so I never got to take the hill climb area, and the word I got from everybody was that it was way faster than doing the bypass, but it could also really bite you because it was super steep hill climb areas. The second hill, I guess, was the doozy. And so it wasn't necessarily whether or not you could make it, it was whether or not the guy in front of you could make it, because if somebody in front of you messed up, it's just a domino effect and everybody would go down. So I don't know. I mean, I wish that I would have taken it or had seen it before I did, because with this tire on here and the power that my bike was making today, I know I wouldn't have had any problems getting up it. But I didn't see it. That's all there is to it. No. We were racing with a new guy. He raced his first race with us today. His name is Todd Britton, and he's in this video a couple times. I'm not sure if I may have accidentally edited him out, but he and I went back and forth a little bit, and I talking to him after the race. His son had raced earlier in the morning in the younger classes, and so someone had told him, yeah, take that hill climb area every time, it's way shorter. And I was trying to figure out, because I knew that I had passed him on the first lap, and you know, Todd's a pretty decent rider, but I knew that I was faster than him, and it seemed like every lap I would come up on him and I'm like, how did he get in front of me? This doesn't make any sense. Well, then after talking to him after the race, it's like, oh, okay, he took the hill climb area every time, it was faster, and so that, you know, it could have saved him 2 or 3 minutes, I don't know. And so yeah, that's pretty significant. So he kept getting around me, and then I'd have to pass him again. So it's evidently this was one of those tracks where, you know, Booster was saying in his video, you know, he thinks that the bypassers should penalize you. Well, this one evidently did. So, like I said, I just wish I had known about it. But that's okay. I'll still take the 14th place finish. These whoops were violent. I know my timing was off. Those whoops were definitely big enough that if your timing is right, you could double them. But clearly my timing was not proper on them, and I was just slamming into them. Later on in the race, I had fallen and my camera was pointed down on the ground, so I edited the footage out. But in one of those whoop sections, one of the long ones, where it starts out as kind of just shallow whoops, you know, you're flying across them in 4th, 5th gear, and just skimming them. All of a sudden, it transitions into some of those really big, deep whoops, and I folded my ankle. I sprained it pretty bad. I think it's called the hyperflex. My toes basically touched my shins. It didn't feel good. Still doesn't feel good. I'm just hoping that 2 weeks of not racing, my feet will feel good enough to race the Wicked Woodsman Hare Scramble that's coming up next week. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is the area I was talking about that I felt like was, you know, it was pretty intimidating to try and fly through here. You know, there's some pretty wicked spikes sticking out of these trees, and you know, you lose control, it could impale you pretty easy. So I was really just kind of cruising through here, not trying to push it too hard. It seemed like most people were kind of slowing down through here, because I didn't really lose a whole lot of time to anyone, and in some cases I was actually passing people. I think on the second lap I was passing people through this section, so after I go through the timing blocks here, I edited that section out and put the second lap footage, or the second lap footage in right here, just because it was way more fun to watch than the first time through, and I was trying to edit out time. So we're about to come up to the motocross track where, you know, we were looking at it before the race and it seemed a little bit sketchy. I mean, again, it's private property. It's not a track that was professionally designed, and some of the faces of the jumps were super steep, so it really made me a little bit uneasy. You know, somebody I've got minimal experience on motocross tracks. I had a lot of fun at the sandbox the other day, but you know, it's not the same. And so, yeah, we were a little bit worried about it. Turned out not to be too bad, but I was planning on jumping a lot more than I did. We'll put it that way. This section here, it closed up on you real tight, or real fast, I should say. So just had to readjust my speed. And then this section here looked like it was going to be much, much worse for traction, but really I had no issues through here. I mean, I was taking it easy, but really I don't feel like I needed to. I feel like I could have poured the power on just right away and had no problems. Super big root there. First lap, it almost threw me over the handlebars because I hit it and it just stopped me. Not really sure why I went that way. I went that way every lap, even though I could have gone to the left and not had the issue. For some reason, I was just drawn to the right side of that tree, and yeah, I never had any major issues, but the first lap, like I said, it stopped me dead in my tracks, so that was interesting. These off-camber hill climbs were fun. Not a really comfortable feeling on a bike, but you know, it is what it is. That guy was stopped in the middle of the track, so I heard somebody revving behind me, so I tried to let him go, and by the time I saw him, he was already gone. Evidently, I didn't need to actually stop because he was coming fast, so. Again, this, even though we've gone through the timing blocks, this is technically still the first lap. Yeah. So we should be coming up to the motocross track any second here. And you'll see my amazing skills. Oh, that guy fell over right in front of me, and I was looking. There's nowhere to go. There's trees up, and man, I actually ended up. Well, I probably didn't lose a position within my class, but I let another guy go by me that I was not intending to let by. Alright, so I heard him coming. I figured I'll let him go before I tackle this motocross area. The sand, like everywhere else, the sand was super deep here. First time around here, I actually dumped it right in this corner, and I couldn't remember what I was hitting, so I just rolled over this tabletop. I should have nailed it, but again, I just completely forgot about it. And so then there's this double, could have hit that. Then this here is a triple, and I was planning to double and then single it. Well, I nailed that one. Then I was so excited that I forgot about the next jump. And I hit the gas way too late. Uh-oh. I ate the bars, I compressed my back, and I was really not feeling good. I had to pull off here for a second, catch my breath. Just let a couple people pass. Make sure that everything's alright. I think I took a drink real quick. Just catch my breath a second and take off. If I remember, I think I only took a drink one time the whole race, which is pretty amazing for me. Normally I take a lot more water than that. I've got the bigger camel pack that you can buy, and normally I drink half to 3/4 of it. One time I actually drank all of it and was dying. I think that was during the Father's Day Mud Fest at Valley. But yeah, so I didn't lose a whole lot of time taking on water. But oh well. So I'm gonna keep struggling through. You know, my back was really hurting, and having to kind of undulate around on the bike that did not feel good. But as I got back into the groove, my back started loosening back up a little bit. So yeah, a little bit more speed and maybe a little more focus on the motocross track might have turned out a little different. But at least, you know, like I said, the first lap I rolled everything, and you know, maybe I should have done that, but at least I did go for it, and the results weren't perfect, but at least the double triple worked out all right. So I'm definitely still off here, and yeah, just not quite feeling it yet. This guy just stopped right in the middle of the track, big old root and everything. Like, come on, man, get out of the way. Like, you're literally just sitting there. Move your bike. And probably heard me through the helmet cam say it. Like, come on, man, you're just killing everybody. Should be pretty close to getting out of the woods here. Those little bridges that he had all over his property there, they were nice. They really didn't, at least not with these tires, they didn't get too slippery, but as you could see, they were losing planks. I was concerned about getting a flat, just because the planks would rip out of them and then they'd flip over on top of the bridge. So I know that the nails were sticking up. I did not get a flat, but I don't know if anyone else did. No. Alright, so now we're coming out into the field section again. Almost done with the official first lap. We just gotta cross the road here. And this hill right here, holy smokes, these trees kind of threw you off, and then it was like straight down that hill. Was it a little intimidating, I guess? Just do it. Oh yeah, so now we've officially done one full lap. This is the first turn coming up. This guy just throws it in there. I didn't even know he was there. And all of a sudden he just was right next to me in the corner. I was like, holy cow. There's Mark Hare. He's like, hey, come on, Slowpoke. And I'm glad he did that because, you know, I was in that funk after hitting that double on the motocross track. My back was hurting, and I had really slowed down. And once he yelled at me, I said, it's on. So I got back on the gas, and here we are. A couple people are between me and Mark on this section, but it's opening up onto the fast part. And I know this bike has the top end to get around, or at least catch up to most any other bike on the track. So I was on it, fifth gear, just pinning it, and it was fun. That guy's out there quite a ways on me. I've already started reeling him in quite a bit, and now we're gonna really get on it. Just reeling him in. Problem was, he comes back across in front of me, and at that kind of speed, clearly I don't want to run into him. And he starts spitting sand in my face, and again, it's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna fight you for it, but especially since he's not even in my class. Now, Mark and we stayed kind of right neck and neck with each other. You know, he'd pull away from me a little bit, but I'd always reel him back in, and there he is right in front of me. And who's that right in front of him? Oh, that's Pony Down. Jeff Carroll, 418. Found out. Come on, Jeff! He looked at me like, yeah, come on, easy for you to say. I didn't know it at the time, but the bolt had fallen out of his seat. So he was stopping every few minutes to make sure that it was still there and push it back down. Watch this section right here. Whiskey throttle. Whoa! Right into the trees, and if you notice, the camera kind of smoothed it out. There was a big tree in there that almost threw me up over the bars, but luckily it just kind of threw me straight up in the air with the whole bike and everything. But yeah, so Jeff had a bolt that fell out of his seat. I didn't know it. I was like, come on, man. You should be way ahead of me by now. Like, keep moving. He's going, yeah, right, I wish I could. So, on this lap, this is actually the second lap here, he pulled off and had another bolt in his toolbox, so he threw that back in. I got out on him about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and like I said, I should have beat him, but I couldn't. I screwed up in the last turn after I flexed my ankle. I couldn't stand up anymore on the bike, so there's Mark, I got around him. So I wasn't able to stand up anymore, so for the whole last half of the third lap, I had to finish it on my butt because my ankle couldn't support my weight anymore. And yeah, so I messed up in the last corner, got sucked into some deep sand, which kind of turned my bike sideways straight into the trees, and I blew it. It was my goal for this year was to legitimately beat Jeff, just one race, and that was my opportunity. I did beat him at Valley Trail Riders. Right there, my camera gets bent down, and the footage is kind of useless after that. but right here is where I get sucked off to the side. As you can see, I'm just pointed straight at the tree, so I gotta back it out. And while I'm backing it out, Jeff goes by. But yeah, at the Valley Trail Riders race, I did beat him, but it didn't count because he got stuck in the mud and it took him like 2 hours to get his bike unstuck. So that's not a legitimate win. I want to I want to win at least. Yeah, sure, he can have some problems because I have problems every race too, but he's got to be able to keep going, and this was the race to do that, and I blew it. So that's unfortunate, but I had a ton of fun. We got the Wicked Woodsman Hare Scramble, Brain Dead, coming up here next week. Hope everyone enjoyed this video. Hope to see you guys the next race, and yeah, super excited. Thanks for watching.